Hello, my name is Oleksandr. I'm the CEO at DevRain, a software development company from Ukraine. I have a few statuses from Microsoft, such as Microsoft Regional Director, Microsoft Most Valuable Professional in AI category, and also Microsoft Certified Azure Data Scientist. Today, we will talk about what's new in Microsoft AI platform. This session is pre-recorded, so you can ask your question during this meeting on a chat window, and also I will be able to answer your question during the Q&A session after this pre-recorded session. Also, we will talk about Azure Cognitive Services, Azure Cognitive Search, Azure Machine Learning, and enhancement in Microsoft Bot Framework and Bot Service. Microsoft AI Platform is a good platform for building intelligent apps. It contains several services, AI tools, AI infrastructure tools, and if you don't have a lot of knowledge about machine learning, artificial intelligence, you can start with building your applications with the pre-trained services such as cognitive services. Also, you can build the conversational AI applications with a bot framework, or if you're a data scientist and willing to use Python, you can use the Azure Machine Learning service. As a developer, you can use a couple of no-code or low-code solutions. And honestly saying, Microsoft AI platform evolved during the last years very, very much. So we will start with the Azure Cognitive Services, which allows you to integrate the ML abilities, so you can see, hear, speak, search, understand, or accelerate decision making with using the ready-to-use API. So if you would like to, if you don't have a lot of experience in machine learning, you can start to build ML application very fast with Azure Cognitive Services. So let's briefly go through all the cognitive services. The first category is a language. So once you have some kind of textual information and you would like to get some information, some insights, you can use a couple of services. The first one is a text analytics, allowing you to detect sentiment, key phrases, or named entities. With a translator, you can automatically detect and translate with using more than 60 supported languages. With a Q&A maker, you can create a conversational question and answer layer over your data. And Q&A maker is often used with a conversational AI, with the chatbots. But as I said, you can use this Q&A maker endpoint with any type of service. Language understanding allows you to build natural language understanding and integrate these language models into apps, bots, and IoT devices. And one of the youngest service is an immersive reader. It helps readers, it helps people to read text, to understand text, and it will be very useful for people with disabilities. So the next category is search. All the services such as auto-suggest, entity search, new search, and other services are built on top of Bing engine. So all information which is available in a Bing search engine could be queried through the Azure Cognitive Services. So one important thing is that the information that you query should be publicly available. So it's not a closed data, so just data from a Bing search network. The next category is a speech category. With these services, you can integrate a speech to text, text to speech, speech translation into your apps. Also, you can build your custom speech models. You can identify speakers. You can train your own models with a set of tools. The next category is a vision, which from my perspective is one of the most interesting and are inspiring. So having several services, for example, face service, which could detect and identify people emotions in images. You can make a group facing. You can detect if the same person exists on several images and do more features. Computer vision could analyze your content in images and video. You can classify your images. You can create different ML models with a binary classification or multiple classification, and then extract these models to make it shareable between the platforms. A very interesting service is a video indexer. So once you have a video, it could be transformed into the frames. It could extract the audio channel and to make a transcription of your video. And also this service allows you to get the insights about your video. So who is speaking? Is any celebrities inside your video? What the key topics, what the sentiments during this video. So all this kind of information you can get from the video indexer. One of the service from the cognitive services vision category is a form recognizer. It's a young service and it was added a few months ago. Now it's general available. And this service allows you to extract the key value pairs and table data from the documents. So the documents could be of different types. It could be receipts, it could be invoices, it could be just other type of forms. And you can choose from different models. You could choose from pre-trained models, for example, like a receipt recognizers, or you can build your own custom models. One interesting thing is that you don't need a lot of test data. So you can start with just a few examples of test items, and Form Recognizer will quickly learn about the structure of your document. So you also could have a Form Recognizer labeling tool. So you just could say what data is important in your form, what is not, and the Form Recognizer will learn this very, very quickly. So one more category from the Azure Cognitive Services is a decision. So here you can find a few interesting services. The first one is a personalizer. So it used the reinforcement learning approach, and it could give you the opportunity to analyze and predict the best option for the user or for your customer. So it works as following. So once you have make some decisions, or you like it something or dislike it something, the personalizer could learn from your behavior and propose the best option, the best next option. So it could be used, for example, when you want to recommend some um, content, or you would like to predict what will be the best for this specific user. The content moderator detects potentially offensive and unwanted content. So, for example, if you're working with a I don't know, with a YouTube, and you have a lot of comments, and you want to mark and delete offensive language or hate language, you can use the content moderator. It has a few options to filter the content, and you can add it to your existing application and monitor this content. The anomaly detector identifies the potential problems early on. So it works, it analyzes your time series data, and it could show you the anomalies your data have. So having this information, you can make some alerting and understand that something is happening good or bad. Uh, and so you can use any type of time series database to connect to The one the news that the anomaly detector now becomes the global available, and you can use it as a stable service. One more, so the Azure Cognitive Services is introducing a series of new capabilities built on the top of Anomaly Detector. Metrics Advisor monitors the performance of your sales revenue or manufacturing operations through a powerful combination of monitoring in real time, adapting models to your scenario, offering granular analysis with diagnostics and alerting. So it's important that Metrics Advisor is built on an anomaly detector, but it's a kind of new service, allowing you to analyze any type of data and make alerting to you. So this service is on preview stage, so you can start free on the link that you see on the slide. Within the vision category, spatial analysis is a feature of computer vision became available in preview. It helps organizations maximize the value of their physical space by understanding people's movement and presence in near real time. It can count people in a room, measure distances between customers, aggregate footfall in a store, understand dwell time in front of a retail display, and determine wait time in QEs. As you understand, this service requires you to install the web cameras on your physical environment. So there are a few requirements how you should implement this solution. You can also find the documentation in the link that I'm providing. So this is a very good example of a service that would build on top of another cognitive services and vision cognitive services. And I see a big potential of using these services in all businesses that use the physical environment. So these two services are quite new and were introduced recently. Now we could move to another service which calls the Azure Cognitive Search. So the name is very similar to Azure Cognitive Services, and the reason is very simple, because the cognitive search also utilize the Azure Cognitive Services. So cognitive search combines a classic search features with AI capabilities, which also known as skills. So let's imagine you have a PDF file. This file contains a lot of data and different type of content. For example, you have texts, you have images, you may have the handwritten signatures or information. So when we try to search through the PDFs, we just search through the text, but we could lose the useful information. So having different types, so if we will break this PDF file into different pieces of information and analyze each piece of information separately, we could have a better search. So let's see how it's working in general. So for example, you have some data which called the data sources, which could be a poor Azure blob storage, it could be PDF, doc files, it could be JPEG, PNG, TIFF files. It could be also Azure SQL database or Azure Cosmos DB. So once we connect to some external data source, the document cracking stage starting. So all the documents based on their type start cracking and divided into different types of information. So if it's a PDF, which one of the more complex type, it could be broken into the text, into the images, and maybe other type of information. So all these information are analyzed with a few skills. I will talk about them a little bit later. And all this information are stored as JSON documents. And then the classic search start working on top of this information. So once we have a search index, we have this search index through the REST API. So you can use this REST API on different web applications, mobile applications, or maybe chatbot. So it doesn't matter where you will use this endpoint. So one important thing is the skills. So the skill is some ability to make some action on a specific type of content. For example, if it's a text, we could use the key phrase extraction or sentiment analysis. Or we could try to find the locations inside this textual information. If it's an image, we could try to find some people on on these images, or we could find the celebrity recognition. So as you can see, the built-in skills are very similar to cognitive services because on the ground it's the same services. But if some service or skill is missing, you can build your own custom skill. So what is the custom skill? It's just the web service. For example, it could be used the Microsoft Azure function, for example, but it doesn't matter. It could be any service where the input, the information in a specified format, something like values, record ID, and data, and the output should be the same format but pre-processed information. So if it's a translation skill or some other skill, doesn't matter. So once you have the output from the input, it's a valid custom skill, and you can add this custom skill to your pipeline. So Azure Cognitive Search also has kind of new features. Most of them are connected to security because when the Azure Cognitive Search indexes all this kind of information for corporations, they are very aware of the security and data governance. So with the private endpoints, indexers can connect to a data source behind the Azure Virtual Network. Also, we can use the role-based access control and make easy access to the external data sources. A good example of using Azure Cognitive Search is GFK files. So in 2017, more than 38,000 pages related to the JFK assassination were released. And it would take researchers months to read through this volume of documents. But with Azure Cognitive Search, it took less time to index and structure those data. So here you can find the search example of USA. And also you need to understand that all these files are from 16th. So they are noisy, they are not perfectly print. A lot of handwritten information also presented on this document, but still you can see that having this cognitive search capabilities working very, very good. And you can see the automatically extracted text from different documents. And also you can see that this USA is found among all these documents. So this cognitive search works on your private ecosystem, so it does not query data outside the data sources you add to the cognitive search. And of course, you can combine some public data, open source data, and some private information into the single application, but it's not a requirement. So the next service is Azure Machine Learning. It's the core product for Microsoft in case of building machine learning tool on building machine learning experiences and models. So here you can find a lot of components and tools. For example, notebooks. It's just a Jupyter notebooks, so you can use, for example, Python to build and host your notebooks in Azure Machine Learning in the cloud. Also, there is a designer, which is the drag and drop tool, allowing you to build machine learning experiments without programming. So this is the visual tool, and now it calls the Azure Machine Learning Designer, but before it was Azure Machine Learning Studio. So it's the same product, but was renamed. And Designer contains a lot of ready-to-use pre-processing components, implemented algorithms, so you can easily make your experiments with this instrument. So Azure Machine Learning also contains the ML Ops, which is the DevOps for ML. So you can automate your ML operations, developing ML models. You can track the accuracy and other statistical characteristics, and you can integrate ML Ops with Azure DevOps. So you can um, you can perform your actions with the developers, because ML Ops is rather different with just the regular development. But with ML Ops, you can make this process more easy. Also, one more feature of Azure Machine Learning is explainable ML and responsible ML. That's a very good components, because business and people, they don't trust the ML models, and so you need to explain and have some have some proofs that your ML model is actually built on a good data, it's responsible, it doesn't have some biases, etc., etc. So having these components integrated into Azure Machine Learning, so you can use them as a part of your experiment. And also you can build different dashboards, you can build different reports. And for example, if you have some customer and he or she asks us to prove that your model is really responsible, and you can show some information and have more trust on your ML models. And the automated ML is also a good no-code or low-code approach, allowing you to quickly create ML models. So what's the problem behind the ML process? So for example, you need to make to solve some task, and you have a number of algorithms, you have a number of features, parameters, and potentially you could have unlimited combination of these parameters. And sometimes people spend a lot of time, months, maybe years, maybe days, to find the best algorithm. So automated ML allows you to quickly find the best model, or at least to validate your hypothesis, what algorithm could perform better than another. Of course, automated ML approach is not. I can't recommend automated ML for the production, and if you are building a state-of-the-art models. But if you try to learn ML, or you try to understand how it's working, automated ML is a very good starting point. So you can build and deploy predictive models for most common use cases, such as classification, regression, and forecasting. And you can do it with a simple, understandable UI. Also, Azure Machine Learning contains the open data sets. So if you would like to understand how ML works, you don't need to search for external data sets because you can use the open data sets from Microsoft. And this is also a good addition to the Azure Machine Learning. So this is a quite new product and a lot of enhancement of Azure Machine Learning. You can find a lot of new stuff, and there is no such one news for this product because it's evolving continuously, and a lot of features added almost each month. One more component or service that was launched recently is a Microsoft Bot Framework Composer. This is the open source tool for visual bot development, which is available on GitHub. Now it makes it easy to build skills for use within the virtual assistant solution accelerator. Also, you can use this tool within a Power Virtual Agents to quickly build a skill and extend a Power Virtual Agent bot. So simply saying, this is the visual tool allowing you to quickly build bots if you have some logic, for example, if, else, switch, or you would like to query some Lewis models or Q&A models. So before Composer launch it, you need to do it manually or through the code, but now you can do it as a visual from the visual environment. So this product is also a general available, and you have a lot of new features coming to Composer each month. So I definitely recommend to look at the Microsoft Bot Framework Composer and start building bots with this tool. One more good news connecting to the bot development is general availability of Alexa channel. So as you know, Microsoft Bot Framework allows you to build the endpoint once and then distribute your chatbot to several platforms. It could be Facebook Messenger, GroupMe, Skype for Business, Slack, Teams. It could be email or just a direct line through the API. And one more is Alexa channel. So now it's integrated into the Azure environment, so you can extend your bot to the Alexa. If you would like to extend your bot to some other services, such as, for example, WhatsApp, which is also popular in some kind of countries, so you can use the open source implementations and integrate your bot with them. Maybe you know that yesterday we had a Microsoft Ignite 2020, and a lot of new news, a lot of new enhancements, and good improvements of different Azure services, not only the Microsoft AI platform, arrived, and you can find all this information in quick formats on this link. So just go to this link to understand what is going on. So what's the enhancement of the services and how you can use the Microsoft technology in your applications. So I would like to thank you for your attention, and I will be glad to answer your questions.